代展覽暨高峰會。我係今日主論壇嘅司儀，嚟自 C2 司儀義工團嘅 Johnny， 大家好。一連3日嘅高峰會咧，喺今日朝頭早正式展開。我哋聚集咗唔同嘅機構，一齊討論黃金年齡喺香港嘅最新發展同埋動向。今日亦都唔例外，準備咗一系列嘅演講環節送俾大家。今日喺主論壇迎接我哋第2個嘅演講活動，題目係塑造未來發展，長者友善設計的創新與實踐。呢個環節我哋會用普通話、廣東話以及英語進行，同時亦都會提供即時傳譯嘅服務，敬請大家留意。如果大家需要選取廣東話嘅話，可以喺頻道上面揀第3個頻道。The following session will be conducted in 普通話、Cantonese and English, and we will provide simultaneous interpretation services. If you would like to choose the English version, please choose Channel 1. 我們接下來的環節會用普通話、廣東話以及英語同時進行。我們現場會提供即時傳譯的服務。如果需要普通話的話，可以選取我們第2個頻道。隨住全球人口持續老化，建立安全、健康同埋共融嘅長者友善社區已經成為刻不容緩嘅發展方向。呢場嘅論壇，我哋匯聚咗嚟自唔同領域嘅國際專家以及實務工作者，將會共同探討一下點樣從政策、設計以及係社會參與，重塑我哋嘅環境，去支持積極且有尊嚴嘅老年生活。演講嘉賓將會分享多元嘅策略同埋創新嘅模式，重點會放喺點樣將長者嘅需要融入喺我哋社區嘅規劃同埋服務設計當中，真正推動共融同埋參與。透過深入嘅理念交流同埋實務經驗，呢場嘅論壇將會呈現建構長者友善社區嘅核心原則、可行做法以及未來嘅趨勢，為共創宜居共融嘅長者社會提供新視野。現在讓我哋有請我哋今日嘅主禮嘉賓，香港特別行政區政府屋宇署助理署長茹澤生先生到台上為我哋致歡迎辭，有請茹助理署長。
蔡主席、各位嘉賓，大家好。好多謝黃金時代基金會嘅邀請，讓我哋咧可以有一個機會咧同大家分享屋宇署咧近期點樣去推動長者友善樓宇設計嘅最新動向。隨住香港人咧越嚟越長壽，香港人口咧正值急速嘅老年化。根據政府統計處嘅推算咧，65歲以上嘅長者佔人口嘅百分比咧，喺2023年嘅22.7% 咧，已經會逐漸上升。預期咧喺2046年咧，呢個年齡群咧佔總人口嘅大概係36%，即係咧每3個香港人咧，我哋就會揾到多過1個嘅長者。2021年咧，只有長者嘅家庭成員嘅住戶咧有20%。去到2046年咧，呢個數字咧會上升至到接近1/3。有見及此咧，行政長官喺2023年嘅施政報告咧提出咗居家安老為本，院舍照顧為後援嘅方針。要達到咧居家安老呢個目標咧，居住嘅環境咧必須要滿足到銀髮族咧嘅生活嘅需要。所以咧2023年嘅施政報告咧，亦都提出咗咧要由財政司副司長去統籌相關嘅政策局啦，將通用設計同埋通達嘅概念咧全面納入咧屋宇署嘅設計手冊同埋相關嘅規例當中。我哋希望咧透過採用長者友善嘅樓宇設計咧，鼓勵居家安老。政府咧亦都同時咧成立咗推動長者友善樓宇設計嘅工作組。工作組嘅工作咧包括檢視現行嘅做法啦，揾出改善嘅空間，收集持份者嘅意見，同埋咧研究海外嘅做法，亦都咧從而咧去擬定咧 有關咧長者友善樓宇設計嘅方案，同埋咧去研究咧點樣落實呢啲咁嘅設計要求，同埋咧相應嘅應用範疇。工作組咧喺去年咧11月咧就住我哋提出嘅方案咧，就去諮詢咗立法會嘅發展事務委員會。隨後咧，我哋進行咗2個月嘅諮詢，拜訪咗不同嘅持份者，當中包括政府部門啦、社福機構、學術機構、學會同埋商會等。我哋總共咧做咗6場嘅諮詢會，超過120個持份者單位咧一齊嚟參與。我哋從專業人士、用家、照顧者身上咧收到140份嘅意見，幫助我哋咧制定可行嘅設計同埋嘅相應嘅設計要求嘅指引。新方案呢有4大範疇：靈活度同通達性、易於改動、有彈性嘅設計、幸福感、樂齡科技同物聯網。以上嘅設計要求咧，除咗適用於公用部分之外咧，我哋亦都會應用於喺私人單位。第一個範疇，活動性同通達性。除咗年紀嘅增長咧，長者嘅身體機能咧，例如肌肉嘅力量啦、平衡力啦、視力咧同埋聽力咧，會逐漸咧衰退嘅，從而咧會增加咗發生意外或者受傷嘅風險。確保住宅單位內同外嘅建築環境嘅活動度同埋通達性咧，去對居家安老咧係非常之重要。因此咧，建築物咧需要提供安全無障礙嘅通道同埋設施，提升咧可步行性同埋連接性。正如咧好似呢一幅圖嘅顯示，長者喺屋苑嘅入口落咗車之後，去到大廈嘅大堂，直向透過升降機去到屋企，或者橫向到戶外空間、空中花園或者會所等，呢啲咁嘅通道呢，都必須要係無障礙，並且呢係要係全天候呢可以供長者去使用。就私人單位嘅設計嚟講啦，加闊單位入口嘅大門，降低大門嘅門檻。就可以令到咧坐輪椅嘅人士咧方便出入。洗手間、浴室、淋浴間使用趟門、接門、雙掩門，就可以令到長者咧活動得更加方便。洗手間同浴室咧要採用防滑嘅地板飾面，滑倒跌倒嘅機會咧就會大大降低啦。室內嘅公用地方咧，我哋要求住用嘅建築物嘅主要入口咧，係需要設置自動門，加闊咧室內公共走廊，擴大升降機嘅機箱，並且咧要求咧升降機嘅機箱後面咧安裝咧鏡面嘅物料，幫助咧就算長者咧需要用輪椅去出入啦，都能夠安全同輕鬆嘅走動。另外咧，考慮到長者咧有可能咧喺聽力或者視力上邊咧有衰退嘅問題咧，公共嘅地方咧需要設置清晰嘅標誌同埋樓層號碼，並且咧要確保咧光線充足。至於戶外公共嘅地方咧，我哋建議咧加闊出入口嘅簷篷，加闊有蓋行人通道，讓長者咧喺唔同天氣底下咧都可以舒適地咧進出建築物，並且咧與屋苑咧其他地方咧有更好嘅連接性。室外嘅公共嘅地方咧必須要用防滑嘅地面飾面。主要往來嘅樓梯咧亦都需要有2層嘅扶手，方便咧長者安全咁去走動。現存嘅樓宇咧可能咧因為用重咗地積比率咧，好難去加建一啲暢通易達嘅升降機。我哋於是咧就住加建有關嘅升降機嘅機塔啦、通道啦或者接駁橋咧，我哋給予上蓋面積同埋總樓面面積嘅寬免，幫助現存樓宇咧改善咧佢哋嘅居住環境，讓長者咧可以喺一啲舊式嘅樓宇咧都能夠輕鬆出行。第二個範疇，易於改動、靈活有彈性嘅設計。 大部分老人家咧都希望住返自己熟悉、住咗多年嘅單位。年青時候買嘅物業，到佢年長咗嘅時候，需要有啲咩改動呢？嗱，浴室係咪夠大讓自己或者照顧者可以足夠去使用呢？走廊係咪夠闊，可以俾輪椅方便咁去運作呢？係咪仍然可以去出到去個露台觀賞屋外嘅環境呢？嗱，每個長者咧都有個別生活需要或者意願，亦都喺唔同嘅階段裏邊咧係有所改變。所以咧，先決條件係咩呢？就係我哋需要咧唔需要改動結構嘅大前提底下咧，可以靈活改動到我哋嘅單位。呢個咧係居家安老嘅一個非常之重要嘅題目。第三個範疇，幸福感。我哋希望咧透過鼓勵咧業界咧提供更體貼長者需要嘅設施，從而咧鼓勵長者保持社交參與，促進跨代共融，提升長者嘅身心靈健康同埋滿足感。例如咧喺空中花園或者住戶嘅康樂設施咧，提供長者健體設備、社區農莊、尿布更換嘅設備，或者長者友善洗手間呢啲咁嘅設施，讓長者咧更多去接觸大自然，同埋培養多一啲嘅興趣，多啲與人溝通互動，保持更健康嘅身心靈。喺室外嘅休憩地方同埋公共走廊、升降機大堂設置休憩設施咧，休息設施係非常之重要㗎，因為可以鼓勵到長者多啲出行，從而咧去提升咧長者嘅生活質素。最後一個範疇係樂齡科技同埋物聯網。科技咧日新月異，有效運用科技咧有助管理長者健康質素，同埋咧提升家居嘅安全同埋便利性。隨住 IoT 嘅發展咧，好多嘅應用程式咧都能夠降低長者生活上遇到嘅潛在風險。樂齡科技咧亦都會協助身體機能咧漸漸衰退嘅長者咧保持一定嘅自理能力，減輕佢哋同埋照顧者嘅負擔。不但咧有助解決佢哋生活咧一啲瑣碎嘅困難，更加咧可以藉着咧幫助長者獨立生活啦，增強佢哋嘅自信心同埋獨立性。常見咧為長者而設嘅樂齡科技咧，包括喺建築物嘅主入口、信箱單位入口嘅智能卡系統啦，方便佢哋進出。水流感應器或者動作感應器咧，可以讓我哋知道咧長者會唔會喺屋企咧發生啲咩嘢意外。電話慰問服務或者煤氣遙距控制呢啲咁嘅科技咧，可以提供一個更加貼心、更加安全嘅居住環境。樂齡科技咧係需要一個強大而且穩定嘅數據網絡，因此咧我哋咧鼓勵住宅單位同埋公共地方咧需要提供高速而且穩定嘅互聯網。就住頭先我哋講嘅4大範疇咧，我哋會透過3種不同嘅方法咧去實施嘅。有16項嘅項目咧，我哋會透過立法去強勢性執行。有11個項目咧係透過咧給予誘因去推廣呢啲設計。仲有17個項目咧，我哋建議良好嘅作業嘅設計要求咧，我哋鼓勵咧業界去參考，自發性去提升，去締造更好嘅建築環境。就透過咧給予誘因推廣嘅設計咧，屋宇署已經喺本年上半年發出一系列嘅認可人士、註冊結構工程師及註冊岩土工程師嘅作業備考，同埋我哋嘅聯合作業備考，為提供大廈出入口簷篷有蓋通道擴闊升降機同埋走廊有蓋嘅戶外休憩設施喺現存樓宇加建暢通易達升降機，給予所需要嘅上蓋面積同埋樓面面積嘅寬免。屋宇署咧亦都發布咗咧設計手冊《暢通無阻嘅通道2008》第6章最新嘅更新，當中咧詳列咗咧建議良好作業設計嘅要求。此外咧， 為咗鼓勵推動業界咧採用長者友善嘅建議良好作業設計啦，發展局同埋香港綠色建築議會同埋建築環保評估協會合作，推動長者友善樓宇認證計劃。計劃咧屬於自願性，適合於新建同埋現存嘅樓宇。如果申請嘅樓宇咧採用咗指定嘅建築良好作業設計咧，經由建築環保評估協會評估咗之後，就可以獲得由香港綠色建築議會咧頒發長者友善樓宇認證。最後咧講一講我哋嘅時間表，按我哋嘅計劃咧，總共28項透過誘因推廣或者建議良好作業嘅設計要求咧，已經透過行政方式咧全數推出㗎啦。與此同時咧，長者友善樓宇認證計劃咧，亦都已經接受申請。大家可以瀏覽咧建築環保評估協會嘅網頁去了解詳情啦，同埋作出申請。餘下落嚟咧19號強制性嘅要求咧，因為要立法嘅關係啦，我哋會喺2026年上半年咧修訂我哋嘅建築物規劃規例，推出呢啲新嘅強制性要求。工作組嘅目標咧，希望透過推動長者友善樓宇設計，為長者咧締造安樂窩，讓長者可以保持健康、積極、正面，感覺到幸福愉快嘅生活。當然，實質上除咗長者之外，唔同年齡層嘅人士咧都會受惠嘅。最後咧，我哋希望大家能夠支持長者友善樓宇設計，喺更闊、更深嘅層面裏邊一齊努力，令一眾銀髮族咧喺嚟緊嘅未來咧可以綻放色彩。多謝大家。
多謝助理處長嘅分享，請留步。而家邀請我哋助理處長可以去到台中間嘅位置，同我哋嘅演講嘉賓同埋一陣間嘅主持人咧去影一個大合照嘅，可以喺我哋台嘅前面位置。係啦，請稍下一陣。Now we would like to invite our panelists and also facilitator to come up on stage to take a group photo with our guests of honor. 首先有請香港房屋協會社區及長者服務組總監吳嘉文博士，有請。Next, we would like to invite Ms. Louise Beckholm, Counselor General of Sweden to Hong Kong and Macau. 讓我哋繼續掌聲有請，現在有請水蔭養老社區中國有限公司總裁汪勇先生，有請。繼續有請促進殘疾人士無障礙環境顧問關國樂博士 MH， 有請。最後有請我哋呢個環節嘅主持人文化村及迎進生活董事總經理羅海玲女士，有請咁多位。好，大家可以企前一步啊 ！Please take a step forward so that we can have a better view for the photos. And now please have a look of the photographer down the stage. 可以望一望我哋台下嘅攝影師。好，準備1、2、3 ，1、2、3 smile。好，仲有另一部嘅相機。Please have a look of the photographer again. 1、2、3 One more. 1、2、3好，多謝晒咁多位，可以先請我哋嘅嘉賓咧，就座欣賞今日嘅節目，亦請我哋咁多位嘅演講嘉賓同埋主持人咧，可以就座去展開我哋接住落嚟嘅演講環節。接住落嚟嘅環節會將個時間交俾我哋嘅主持文化村及迎進生活董事總經理羅海玲女士，掌聲有請。
大家好，係啦，大家午安。咁咧，以下落嚟嘅節目咧，因為我哋都有幾位唔同嘅嘉賓係唔同嘅語言啦，咁所以我哋咧就會用英文係去做我哋呢一個 panel。咁所以有需要嘅時候咧，都可以同我哋在場嘅工作人員咧，係攞翻一個傳譯機咧 tune 到我哋嘅 channel 1咧，係去聽翻我哋廣東話嗰個傳譯嘅，係啦。So the following session will be conducted in English. As some of our speakers will be speaking in English and sharing in English. Welcome to today's panel discussion titled Shaping the Future, Innovation and Practice of Age-Friendly Design. I am today's moderator, Stephanie, and I would like to introduce myself a little bit before the session. So this topic is a very close matter to my heart. Because I'm also operating a residential care home, which is Nordic-inspired. We use a lot of Scandinavian design, which is inspired from Sweden, from Finland, and other places. And our company also operates some of the home modifications for people aging in place. As we all know, most of the citizens in Hong Kong who's aging 65 years and above, they reside at home. So it's very important to think about how adaptive design or universal design, or our topic today, how it affects how we think about universal design for aging in place. So we are honored to have a distinguished panel of experts who will be talking about innovation and practice of age-friendly design from a global and macro and also policy level to practical adaptations in specific settings and long-term care. Let's now give a round of applause to welcome Dr. Joseph KWAN, Ms. Louise Berkelum, Dr. Carmen Ng, and also Mr. Tony Wang. Thank you. So for our first panelist, next to me, Dr. Joseph KWAN is currently advisor of the UIA Work Program Architecture for All and vice president of Rehabilitation International. Dr. KWAN is an architect and universal accessibility consultant with 48 years of professional experience, having worked in Australia, the UK, and France, including over 36 years in Hong Kong, focusing on universal design. He also participated in drafting the Hong Kong Building Department's design manual, Barrier-Free Access. He's also the author of 18 publications and articles on various aspects of designing for universal accessibility and disability. I will now pass the stage to Dr. KWAN. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. 各位，我哋啲朋友需唔需要攞部機聽聽中文啊？攞咗未啊？你哋而家需唔需要派俾啲老人家長者啊？因為驚住我哋講英文嗰陣時咧，就會有啲嘢溝通唔係咁方便啫。咁我開始先啦。講英文啦 ，OK。Universal design, universal access is the area what we're talking about today. So what is universal design? Universal design, as you see in the bottom slide, basically includes many, many people. In other words, it's one design that's almost fit for all. Whether you're old, young, able, disabled, this is what is called universal design. And then we also have a term called inclusive design. Inclusive design means include more people, not only the ones with physical disabilities, but also with mental or other cognitive impairment. So that is inclusive and universal design. And this is an example, a very easy example of what we call universal design. It's something my Japanese colleague designed. It's a pen, right? Unlike the pencil that we have been using for hundreds of years, this particular pen can be used. If your hands are not so useful, it can be used with your mouth, different types of fingers, even your foot. You can use it as a pen versus the traditional pen and pencil. So this is an example of universal products. I think we already mentioned many countries have an aging population. As you can see, North America, the darker brown colors are the ones with the higher percentage of aging people, 60 years, 65 years and above. Of course, Hong Kong is no different. I think many speakers today will speak about this, so I will go very quickly over this. And in Asia Pacific, the projection for Asia Pacific is that by the year 2050, the aging population will triple in size from something like 500 million to 1.3 billion people, elderly person. So this is the population that we, responsible people, whether it's the building department, the housing department, we should be designing and catering for. This is us in the future. This is designing for you at the present time. So these are the ones. In Hong Kong, I think these statistics already mentioned that most likely we're reaching the 25% mark already. So 1 in 4 of us are age 60, 65 and above. And really our environment should be built to facilitate and make it easy for everybody. So the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal has 17 different goals. And the one that affects us the closest is probably goal number 11. It talks about sustainable cities and communities. So 2 very simple words. Our cities and communities should be inclusive, 包容, inclusive, and safe, 安全. We'll talk about what those 2 words mean in a minute. So it has to be sustainable as well as resilient and inclusive and safe. A number of reports came out 10 years ago now. This is going back 10 years ago. The World Health Organization has a report that came out basically compared aging and health. 長者同埋個身體健康. So they already mentioned the correlation between aging and health. So subsequently, they produced guidelines. That obviously one of the factors they thought it was important was age-friendly city. 一個城市對你哋點樣咩叫安全咩方便你哋嘅，已經國際衛生局已經出咗呢個咁嘅報告㗎啦。Okay? 咁就係話 we need to be able to measure what is an age-friendly city. What are those factors? That's a report already said 10 years ago. And once again, in Europe, they're doing similar things already. Once again, 10 years ago, Europe was already putting down indicators of what is an accessible, age-friendly city. I think something we need to probably reflect on and maybe adopt for Hong Kong. And there are basically 3 factors in terms of assessment, the physical aspect, the social aspect, and of course the public service aspect, the hardware, the physical environment, how that is, the outdoor environment, transportation, building and housing, the social environment in terms of civic engagement, employment, inclusion, non-discrimination, and social participation. And finally, the public service, the health issues, communication and information. These are the 3 pillars in an age-friendly environment. And once again, they continue to come out recently, 2018, a network of age-friendly cities. I'm not sure whether Hong Kong is part of that network, but if not, we should be part of the network. We'll be interested to know how Hong Kong rate in terms of this network. Where do we rate in terms of an age-friendly city? And of course, I also have national programs, different programs. They're guiding us how to develop an age-friendly city. Very quickly, this is the topic I'd like to probably study and discuss with you a bit more. We talk about designing for age-friendly city, designing for aging. We also need to consider the family composition, whether they live by themselves, 2 elderly couple, or singleton by themselves. I think these are different requirements that is needed to be considered. And whether they can be independently living in an environment at home, or do they need assisted living, or they need other types of assistance, or they live in a residential home. The other factor, I think, is what we call the activities of daily living, ADL. Okay? What do they do when they get up? They get up in the morning, where do they go for yum cha? Do they go downstairs with their friends? Do they go and sit in the garden all day? And what do they do afterwards for lunch and dinner, etc.? So that is the daily living. Can they do that independently, or do they need to be assisted by family members, etc.? The physical and mental health obviously is very important in terms of building an environment for them. How do we encourage a better environment that enhances good health and mental well-being? Aging in place, of course, we need to look at housing, the built environment, transport department. Therefore, they can stay in the home. Is that possible? Is that possible? 你可唔可以喺屋企住，唔想去搬去第二度？屋企人會唔會嚟探你？你可唔可以落街買餸食飯？ This is aging in place. And as you grow old, we all like to age in place rather than moving to somewhere else, etc. And then one factor I believe is the cost of living. What is the current cost of living? Earlier this morning we talked about even medical bills. Speaker says, 3,800蚊, $38,000 is spent a year on medical bills. That's a lot. You work that up per month, okay? Without government assistance, can I manage that sort of medical bills? Cost of living is an important factor. Are we designing homes that they can afford to live in? Or is it so expensive they can't move to something better? Gerontology, mentioned already. I like to think that can they manage it? Can they use these gadgets? IT and AT, very important. Is it something that they cannot comprehend as a young Jack? Can they understand how to use a bit of equipment? And the other thing with communication, nowadays everything is online. You need to have the telephone in order to go to banking. And you need the double verification. Even I get confused and press the wrong button, you know. Food and beverages, I go to McDonald's, I need to press the right buttons in order to order something, right? I can't speak to someone at the counter anymore. I want a hamburger, double decker, whatever. All these sort of things. And travel, you go to the airport. Okay, you need to check in by yourself now. Your bag have to take. My older grandmother can't lift her bag to get the ticket, and then you go to another counter to drop in your bag. All this sort of thing is really discouraging, and our environment must address all these things. And affordability, as I mentioned, and connectivity, of course. Can they afford Wi-Fi? Everyone has a phone. Can they afford monthly subscription, or do they have free internet? All this affordability. Of course, connectivity. Very quickly, safety, 2 issues. Fire, safety. Older gentleman was recently died from a fire. And of course, home safety. Prevention of fall. 唔好跌倒，唔好屋企夠唔夠安全俾你哋啦。Okay? And then different devices to get you out. And pictograms are important, simple pictograms that everybody can use, understand, without being too confusing. Look at this example. Very bad examples of design. This is meant to be the door to the male and female toilet. Do you know where the door is? Can you see which is male and which is female? It's very hard to see. And of course, the affordability. You know, we've done studies about very hot homes, and usually singletons, or they live in very cramped spaces. They can't afford an air conditioning unit, and they can't afford to pay air conditioning bill. Therefore, they live in very squalid conditions, very bad conditions. We need to improve on that. Quickly, neurodiversity, neuro-inclusive design, we need to focus on not only the physical, but the cognitive, intellectual disabilities. In terms of policy, Norway has a national policy already. Way back 10 years ago, it says Norway will be university designed by the year 2025. This year, they're meant to be university designed, the whole of Norway, okay? So I wish we could do something like that for Hong Kong. And of course, there are different awards that we can apply to, and of course, there are conferences and meetings we can all attend. Very quickly, I'd like to bring on the area of social responsibility. Everyone is socially responsible, not only the architects, designers, whoever provide the building. We hope we don't design, we have all the right regulations, yet we still have guide paths. That's a tactile guide path built and designed for supposedly visually impaired person. That is not what we want, okay? So something has gone wrong. We've got the best regulations, but somehow it's not well implemented. And eventually, finally, the ISO 26000, it talks of social responsibility. And basically, I just want to say that we are all responsible. It says it's an ideology and a theory that we, every one of us, we all have a responsibility to act in order to benefit society at large. So on that conclusion, I hope we will, reach that one day. OECD has the guidelines. Basically, it just says a city for all ages, not young and old, a city for all ages. So thank you very much. 唔好意思，講啲好快到，不過希望你聽到明啦。唔該晒 ，Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Kwan. Please be seated. I really like the last keyword for us to consider, a city for all ages. From Dr. Kwan's sharing, we can understand how accessible design is important, because we would love to consider housing as a living habitat, a very suitable, living environment for all ages. Thank you so much for your sharing. So next, we will have Ms. Louise Bergholm, the Consul General of Sweden to Hong Kong and Macau. Having served in various capacities in multiple geographical locations, Ms. Bergholm accumulated more than 3 decades of diplomatic experience. Her previous positions include Ambassador of Sweden to Bulgaria, while she was also formerly assigned to Washington, D.C., USA, and Jakarta, Indonesia. Louise will bring to us a wealth of knowledge about Sweden's best practices in age-friendly initiatives. Sweden has long been a leader in innovative policies that prioritize the well-being of the elderly. Let's welcome Louise.
Good afternoon, and thank you for that very eloquent description. And I'm really happy to be here. I feel honored that as a representative of the Swedish government that I've been invited to share some issues here on Sweden's innovation and philosophy in elderly care. And I discussed with my colleagues at the consulate a bit about what is the basis for looking upon care of the elderly and design in our places, in our homes, in our cities, offices, etc. for the elderly. And that is certainly the word dignity. And just as in Hong Kong, we have a rapidly aging population. In 2050, about a quarter of our population will be over the age of 65. And this is under, I'd say, more and more of a discussion, more and more of a recognition in our society. And what most people want in life is to feel dignity and, of course, to be independent. This is a very natural strive within us, I believe. And we're working hard in Sweden now to innovate for this to be a reality for everyone in society. And this is not only innovation in the form of products, but it can be in the form of systems and how also services are set up, etc. The basis for what the government entities do when it comes to elderly and elderly care, and this is also for children and this legislation and for those that have different forms of disabilities. It's all in our Social Services Act, which is our cornerstone welfare act. It's a law that ensures that all individuals are to receive dignified, personalized support and care based on their needs, not on their income. And these services are managed by local municipalities, and the goal of all the services given are to support the individual's independence. For elderly people, this means, first and foremost, for elderly citizens to continue to live in their own homes for as long as possible. And also a rights-based approach, for example, that elderly couples will be able to continue to live together even if just one of them requires more supported accommodation. And municipalities, as I say, they play a central role in providing these care services. They are the closest to the individuals, and also the care is managed on an overall level by the municipalities. And I've gone through this with my father, who passed away a couple of years ago. He was an extremely independent-minded and independent person. And it was, I must say, a bit tricky to get him to understand that, okay, now is the time, that we, your children, rather spend our time with, with you, being with you, and not just running the errands, etc. So we contacted the municipality services, and I must say, I was just amazed by the attitude when they then surveyed my father, came home to his apartment, talked to him, discussed with him about his situation. And the decision that was written in such a beautiful way of explaining who he was as a person, what was important for him and what he needed in order to continue to live a meaningful, independent, and dignified life. I was really touched by that seeing that he was still a very important part of the community and deserved this. So the legislation is a lot about the universal access to services based on needs and to ensure equity and social rights. The services are publicly funded through mainly our municipal taxes. That's the main taxes that we pay in Sweden. There are also some government grants for certain aspects of it. The actual work, you get the decision from the municipality. They make the decision, are you eligible to get this kind of care either in your home or if you need to move to a home for the elderly. But you yourself choose who will give you this care. So there are a number of private companies you can choose from, and the municipalities always need to offer these services. So that, Sweden is a big country, very sparsely populated, so we have to make sure that everyone does have access to some type of care. And so for my father, he tried out a company and he was very happy with that, and then went on when he could no longer live at home a year later or so, moved into a care home run by the same company, and that made him feel very safe and comfortable that they knew him and that he was familiar with their forms of work. With our legislation on social services, and we also strive to contribute to seniors' holistic well-being. It's not just about being able to carry out your daily life, so to say. New forms of effective and preventive care has been introduced now into elderly care, not the least physical activity. This is so important both to keep the abilities that you have and also, of course, for the mental health. There's also cultural activities like music, films, and reading as well. I mentioned earlier the need for innovations, and the Swedish government introduced last year a new research and innovation bill, planning to invest the equivalent of about 5.36 billion Hong Kong dollars on research and innovation. And this is, of course, a very broad bill that's not only for social services, but there is a writing in this bill on more practical research in order to improve the quality in the public sector, including social services and healthcare. And this investment in research will support practice-oriented research for stronger evidence base, and also looking into cognitive science. Let me give you some examples of innovative practices and technologies in age-friendly design, and these can be categorized as shown on this slide, aiming to cover all different aspects of elderly care. One example is this device called Light My Way. It's an innovation developed by Bellman and Symphone. It is a Bluetooth-powered fall prevention system. You just put this little thing under your pillow, and it will detect when you leave the bed at night and lights up a safe path for you to the bathroom so you don't trip during these nighttime visits that unfortunately become more frequent. And this is combined with the use of responsive light, smart switches, and a master controller. So when you return to bed, you can turn off all the lights along the path with just a single flick of the master switch, which is wireless, so you can put it by your bedside for easily turning the lights off. Another one is an AI-enabled triage accessed through an app or a desktop portal, where the patient will describe in words their symptoms, and the system will guide them through a follow-up in order to determine how urgent response that is needed. In many care homes, and also for those that are residing at home and, for example, suffering from dementia, robot animals have been introduced, usually in the form of dogs or cats. These have some mobility, they can make sounds and can react to people, and they bring very positive effects for many people. Some that have been very anxious have been able to reduce the amount of medication to calm them down, and also gives a sense of importance for the person caring for this robot animal, of being important to another object, so to say. And you also see this skin patch sensor that continuously monitor health status such as pulse and blood pressure. There are so many ways of, we've already talked a bit about the community and social participation, and now that we're building new areas, we try to combine offices, daycare centers for kids, living quarters, and even within the same building to combine both elderly people and new immigrants to Sweden, to help the immigrants in connecting to the Swedish society, and the elderly feel that they make a difference for people in their lives. We have a high life expectancy, just as in Hong Kong, and with so many elderly people, we now have over 400,000 seniors in Sweden that receive home help services. And there has been, and we're very happy for that, some international recognition for digital dignity and inclusive design. And just to end, I just want to say a few words on our digital strategy to ensure equal access to healthcare, strengthen seniors' ability to participate in society, also on social media, etc., and to use that to promote a dignified aging. And also then the importance of co-designing, which was mentioned here earlier as well, to do things with those that are to use the devices, not just think that we know what's best for them. So with that, thank you for listening. And as we say in Swedish, tack.
Tack, Louise, tack. Thank you very much. From Louise's presentation, we can see that Sweden has a very person-centered care model. We can see that innovation in the triangle comes from the top, but the person always comes first. So thank you for the valuable introduction. So next, we are also privileged to welcome Dr. KWAN, the Social and Elderly Wellness Director of Hong Kong Housing Society, overseeing the elderly housing and related services to assist the elderly to age in place. Dr. Ng's work focuses on integrating social wellness within all age communities and building social capital, ensuring that our living environments well support the social interactions and health of the seniors. Today, Dr. Ng will be sharing her experience in adaptable design at the Housing Society and also the concept of housing with care. Over to you, Dr. Ng.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the Golden Age Foundation for inviting me here to share Hong Kong Housing Society's experience with innovation in environmental design for aging in place. Well, our society is aging rapidly, but our tenants are aging even faster. They make up almost 40% of our total residents. This is why we have been innovating senior living for retirees for years. Until now, our services expanded to serve diverse needs of older people, affordable housing for low-income families, and quality housing exclusively designed for the middle and upper-income older adults. Well, to us, senior housing is more than just accommodation. It's home. It's a place that brings purpose, joy, and fulfillment. Our philosophy of service rests on one key principle: person-environment fit. Research shows that optimal functioning happens when environmental press matches personal competence. A good fit supports older persons to maintain their independence and enhances their safety and well-being. A poor fit, on the other hand, can lead to risks and declines. This is where environmental design closes the gap. Good design complements abilities, enables independence, and requires ongoing adjustments as the older person's age and the abilities evolve. Well, as people age, they encounter a range of challenges: physical, cognitive, sensory, and psychosocial. These challenges can make everyday environment difficult to navigate, like stairs and narrow doorways, poor lighting, and color contrast. And that's why environmental design must be dynamic. Sorry about that. It needs to adjust as people's needs and abilities evolve. Well, by following 4 key principles: anticipatory, to cater to their future needs; flexible enough for changing abilities and preferences; inclusive, which benefits all ages; and finally, sustainability. It should be future-proof and cost-effective in the long run. Following these 4 principles, we aim to create supportive physical and human environments that evolve with our residents. Well, in our public rental estates that have been built years ago, we offer home modifications after assessments by occupational therapists. This ensures existing homes can support the aging tenants with declining abilities. So building on this experience, we have embedded age-friendly and adaptable design into our senior housing projects right from the beginning. This is our most recent senior housing project, the Blissful Place, which has been completed 2 years ago. This project combines adaptable and age-friendly design, advanced technology, and uplifting human environments. I'm going to share with you some of our age-friendly design, which we are honored and happy that Mr. Yue just now has used some of our examples. The age-friendly building design incorporates different thoughtful features, where examples like color-coded themes to guide orientation, handrails along the hallway, sitting inside lifts and lobby areas for resting, and also door side hangers to free the tenants' hands for key access. Well, here's our Sky Garden, an outdoor area that's far more than a recreational space. Since sarcopenia or muscle loss is common in old age, so we have installed age-friendly exercise equipment designed to promote strength building. We're happy to see our tenants are now developing regular exercise habits and become more active. Another breakthrough is our anticipatory design for the wheelchair access to social gathering and greeneries. Even frail residents can enjoy barrier-free experience here, playing chess with friends and participating in gardening activities. Well, these inclusive features, both indoors and outdoors, ensure that every tenant, including those with limited mobility, can remain socially connected, active, and mentally engaged in a safe and conducive environment. And inside each unit, we have adopted adaptable design, including double door wheelers for future wheelchair use, lowered door curbs and sliding doors for barrier-free transitions, and adaptable kitchen and toilet cabinets, again, for future wheelchair use. These forward-looking design elements enable our older tenants to make flexible adaptations as they age or experience functional decline. We also integrate jarring technology to enhance both safety and independence. Our integrated one-cart solution does more than just emergency support. It offers all-in-one convenience just one card, they can unlock the building entrance, individual units, and even the mailbox with just a single card. Well, while smart technologies for home safety are becoming more common, we recognize that our older tenants are concerned about their privacy. So we have introduced non-intrusive devices, such as the sensors on doors and water taps, to monitor prolonged inactivity, to assign alerts to our staff team for timely assistance. This offers a very free living environment to the tenants and their families. We also actively collaborate with our various stakeholders to co-design and develop smart solutions to promote safety and independent living. One example is smart cooking. We collaborate with town guests. Due to poor memory, some older persons may forget to turn off the stove or even totally forget that they're cooking, exposing them to safety risks or even injuries. And family members may then discourage them from cooking, taking away an activity that they really enjoy. To address this, the smart stove has added remote monitoring and auto shut-off, offering a safe and supportive cooking experience. Well, aging in place isn't about the home, it's about the community. So let's take a look at our donut model. It has three interconnected layers. At the core are the individual seniors. We empower them to make positive change. The middle layer is bonding social capital. For residents who share similar backgrounds, we help them to build trust and mutual support among them. And the outer layer is the bridging social capital. We connect residents to broader community resources and stakeholders. And through different strategies, community-based, proximity-based, and theme-based strategies, we create a human environment that fosters purpose-driven lives for older persons. We have introduced various initiatives such as flat floor gathering, concern call. While many activities are hosted in our senior lounge, we've seen some tenants face barriers to join, such as caregiving responsibilities or health challenges. So we make full use of the public space within the residential building, especially on individual floors, bring the activities close to the residents' home. By doing so, we have engaged some homebound seniors. In conclusion, to truly support aging in place, we need a holistic, multi-level strategy, adopting person-environment fit as the principle, using age-friendly and adaptable design, as well as suitable technology to integrate the physical and human environment that enables the older persons to age in place with joy and fulfillment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ng, for the invaluable sharing. And from Dr. Ng's presentation, we understand that adaptable design is very sensitive to user experience. That's why having users' participation is especially valuable when we think about how we want to design our space for our elders or people of all ages. So our last speaker, Mr. Tony Wang. Mr. Tony Wang is the founder of Watermark Senior Living China Limited. With his extensive experience in senior living solutions, Mr. Wang will share innovative concepts that redefine how we view and design spaces for older adults. As we navigate an increasingly aging society, the need for age-friendly design is more crucial than ever. This concept transcends accessibility and adaptability. It embodies a holistic approach that enhances the quality of life for older adults, ensuring their dignity, independence, while staying active and living a full life they desire. Over to you, Mr. Tony Wang.
Thanks, Stephanie. Please allow me to give this introduction in Mandarin, if okay, and then we can later commute in English. 我首先给大家简单介绍一下就中国内地这个老年的这个背景今天上午其实杜鹏教授已经给了很多很详细的数据，因为这个是个大背景，大家可以看到我们目前已经有313.1亿60岁以上的人口，对吧？22%占人口22%，然后呢有65岁的人口是2.2亿，在中国内地。 那70%的老年人呢，其实都有多种的这种慢性的疾病。然后同时呢，我们认为有5000万的老人是失能的这种人群，他其实需要服务，包括脑退化症、认知症。那其实我们预计就是在中国内地需要1000万的 caregiver，1000万的护理人员，对吧？大家如果看左边这个图的话，其实越蓝色颜色越深，其实它的老龄化的程度越高。像上海这些大城市，特别是东北，已经有25%多的这个比例是6岁以上的人口。红色的部分呢，只有10几这样的一个人口是6岁以上。再看一下我们中国内地的现在的所谓的养老机构就是养老院香港安老院或者安老护理院。其实在2016年的话呢，其实这个数量还比较的少，对吧？只有就是14万，然后有300多个床位。但是大家如果看到我们2024年的话，已经有800多万床位就是按照床位来算。但是如果大家对中国内地的民政的体系的安老院或者安老护理院熟悉的话，其实我们现在有很多中高端的养老社区，其实并没有在民政的这个备案的体系下所以说这个如果是按照加上保险公司的这些大型的养老社区他们的这个床位或者房间并没有被归纳为养老床位，所以说其实这个数量可能更多，对吧？同时呢，大家可以看到机构的数量只占到10%几，对吧？占到10%，其实大部分还是在社区这个是下一面我会简单解释在中国的国家政策里面就讲9073、9064或者9901，这个的意思就是我们预期90%甚至的客群，甚至说99%是住在自己家里安老，然后1%或者3%、4%住在养老机构或者安老院、安老护理院。但是6%或者7%呢，实际上它是依托于社区的各种设施来养老。那社区的这种各种设施包括像老年的餐厅，对吧？包括像老年的服务中心、健身房，甚至说是老幼同乐的这种空间，甚至我们在上海的这个老年围老服务中心，其实它里面还有一些最基础的服务，包括大家可以看到右下角的图片，还可以修伞，对吧？休闲，其实这些很接地气的服务都是在这个就是围老服务中心社区的这种服务中心里面。当然这个里面它不包括一些就是小机构，就是我们一个小地方可能只有20-30个床位的这样所以说在上海这些一线城市，包括广州，其实社区型的这个养老的服务设施已经非常丰富提供了很多便利的服务。当然这些是普惠型为主，就是真正的是方便社区的居民来使用。
Tony， 不好意思因为我们有一些 overrun 的情况所以其实我们Dr. 没有是Dr. 他要先行离开了。May we give a round of applause to Dr. because she has another engagement, so Dr. will leave the panel at this point. And thank you very much for your sharing. Tony， 你可以继续了。
同时呢，就是在中国内地，大家都知道，我们是90%以上的这个老年人会自己在居家养老。其实中国内地过去这5年吧，其实花了很多的 resource， 就是资源，包括资金，到居家适老化改造这个上面。我这只是举了个例子，就比如在上海，对吧？现在的补助是每年有5000元的人民币给到家庭有需要的家庭，他可以就他居住的卫生间、厨房进行一些改造。那这个改造呢，像左边的这个就是在上海的一个服务提供商，就是3000人民币，你可以在这个12个产品里面选6个来装到自己家里。当然这个是政府补贴的，对吧？如果你需要更多的这种 feature， 你就需要花更多的钱。大家可以看到这个改造的这个档次呢，当然可高可低。那右边的这个呢，就是更商业化的这个行为，它可能花的钱更多。那我刚才看到香港其实有很多这种就居家的适老化的改造，其实非常重要，因为大家都知道，中国过去这30-40年这个房地产发展的特别快，那好多的这种适老化，包括通用性的设计，并没有那么充足。那简单的说呢，就是在刚才就是嘉宾分享的，就是老龄友好型的这种社区，其实在中国2020年开始，内地也开始政府民政部民政的系统也开始推出说做老年友好型的社区。那当然有很多具体的目标，就比如说到 2025年有3000个全国有3000个城乡的社区会有更多老年人的这种安排，就比较方便他们出行，可能有些科技有更多的支持，有更多的软的这种文化活动。那到2035年，预计就是全国的这种社区都可能会有老年友好型的这种安排。这个是中国的一个大的一个提升，就是更使老居住的这样一个战略的计划。那因为水印品牌是源自美国40年的一个就是养老社区安老院的一个开发运营公司，我们过去10年在中国内地落地，那我们也就简单对中国跟美国做一个简单的对比。那其实大家可以看到，美国的 ADA 的这个法案其实就是针对我们无障碍、针对残疾人士的这个法案是1990年就出台了，对吧？那中国内地呢，其实是2023年才开始有第一部全国的无障碍的这个法律，那个确保就是未来的这个发展会把无障碍的这个安排会考虑得非常周到。那这中间有35年的一个差别，所以说其实中国内地在无障碍、在使老化设计这块，我觉得有非常大的机会。当然，因为大家都知道，现在各行各业在内地都用一个“卷”的这个字来形容，所以说如果我们香港的商家如果想再去抓住中国内地的使老化改造这个市场，一定是可能要从科技更高端的一些产品去着手，因为特别简单的使老化，国内已经卷得不行了，价格也不断的在跌。那这个是简单的说呢，跟美国跟中国的一个对比，因为我只是选了一个很简单的图片啊，左边呢是美国的一个护理的一个房间，大家可以看到很简单很朴实，对吧？它那个床也是电动的床，但是它做的比较的residential 居家化。右边呢是水印跟太平保险在上海的梧桐人家的这个护理的这个房间。那总体上来讲，我觉得做得非常也不错，但是像太平上海梧桐人家这个项目的话，让你看上去就还是有一点像医疗的这个床位，对吧？其实我就是觉得使老就居家的这个感觉稍微差了一点点，对。同时呢，从另外一个角度来讲呢，因为国内的就是 IoT 包括智能化，其实最近这些年发展的特别快。那我们认为未来的一个趋势呢，其实就是国内在智能化，包括智慧养老或者智慧的健康管理会做得更多一点。当然，国内也开始用很多这种品牌体系，比如说像日本的松下，或者中国的小米、中国的海尔，其实都有这种居家社区的智慧化的成熟的体系，正在各个项目上应用。当然，有的花的钱多一点，有的花钱的少一点，但是这些我觉得就是怎么一个适度的来安排我们居家的，包括养老机构或者安老院里面的智慧化，跟就是智慧健康、智慧养老，我觉得需要取得个平衡。包括我们认为比较重要的，就举个例子，跌倒监测，就 fall detection， 或者说是睡眠监测这些其实是非常好的，但是呢。在内地，包括我在香港，其实就是我们最后这100米或者500米的这样的一个服务，可能不一定能打通。就什么意思呢？我如果是睡眠监测，就是这个老人可能突然呼吸停止或者有紧急的情况，但是社区并没有及时的团队去反应或者去采纳行动。这是为什么在内地，如果大家去了解我们保险公司的这种养老社区，都会告诉你，一旦出了紧急情况，如果你有呼叫紧急救助，那其实3到5分钟就能到位，这个是一个很大的一个便利所以说，其实未来的智能化会越来越多，但是在美国其实这个用的非常少。像我们的居民其实更一点都不像穿戴设备，比如说你告诉他，我说我给你个定位，他说我不是一个宠物，你要告诉我在哪里。所以这个我觉得就是中国跟美国还是有非常大的差别。就美国的老年人特别在乎他的隐私 privacy， 他其实并不是为了想要这样来让你给他提供很多智能化的设备。那简单的说呢，包括中国上海的这些公立的安老院，其实已经做得非常好了，包括现在硬件服务，对吧？但是如果你看它左下角的那个房间，对吧？很多的 utility 的这个还是看得出来，它是一个医院的房间。其实我们是希望未来它做得更像家里一样，这种设计，我觉得是值得我们去学习的。那这个是太平就是上海梧桐人家靠近迪士尼的项目。其实你看到，其实整个的档次感觉都非常不错，服务也越来越好。从2019年开始已经住了1300人，总共可以住拿3000人。这个项目在上海迪士尼旁边今天这样的一个分享呢，我也希望香港的老年人跟我们内地可以多多的交流，包括国内的很多这种养老社区项目，大家可以去体验。我们可以跟 就是黄金时代多多合作，促进这样的一个交流，互相了解。那简单的广告呢，就水印中国在过去10多年，其实跟中国太平中旅、港中旅，还有就是新加坡的公司都有很多的轻资产的合资公司。我们主要是运营管理，就是一个 operator 所以说也期待跟香港 Stephanie 还有香港的在座的各位有机会以后多多合作谢谢大家。
Thank you, Tony. 谢谢 Tony. So Tony has been sharing to us about how adaptive housing is being done in China. I would like to summarize this as a housing with community and culture, because it's very culture specific, so we can think about like how Chinese culture, especially what we need when we think about age-friendly design. So next section, it comes to our panel discussion. And since Dr. KWAN has left early, could I please invite Mr. Yue from the Buildings Department to come up with us so that we can have a more intensive sharing with the panel. So I will only have 2 questions with the panelists today. And first, it's about the Buildings Department, the recent announcement of implementing elderly-friendly building design. So in the previous presentations, we talk about how to balance cost effectiveness and future-proof. Because when we do a renovation or building design for age-friendly purposes, we often associate this with cost implications. So, Mr. Yue, do you have any sharing about if you implement this scheme? Is there any concerns or challenges? And also, may I also turn to Dr. Kwok as well, since this scheme is also voluntary-based, even though some of the requirements are mandatory. So in your vast experience, do you think inclusive design should be considered in the building phase? And what are some constraints and opportunities? Yes.
I'm not an economist, so I'm not a businessman. So when you talk about cost, I really have no idea. But in Hong Kong, it's a very dense city. The land price is very high. So for elderly people, the spatial quality and safe built environment is very important. What government can do is to give incentive to developers so that they can spend the spatial area for the elderly. For example, a wider lift car, a wider corridor, and have shelter for their travel within the building or to the place where they want to go. So we have in this half year, we have issued a lot of pedestals. First, we allow residential care home to count as non-domestic gross floor area, so that the developer can build more for elderly, for building their care homes. And then we provide more concession on gross floor area and site coverage, so that the building bulk could be increased a bit solely for the safety and convenience of the elderly. That's what buildings departments can do. Okay.
Yes, this is to enhance the well-being of the elders.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yue. Dr. Kwok?
I think the concept of age-friendly city, it needs to be a holistic approach. I mean, I think we're all here with expertise from various areas, whether it's the building authority, the watermark, and the national policy. I think we can learn from many, many other countries, and even within our own Japan, for instance, the way we can build an age-friendly city, age-friendly environment, taking in all those considerations in order to help a senior person to live quite independently and hopefully to a right old age. And I think I like to think the largest population we haven't quite focused on yet is older persons. Unfortunately, we're all going to have this. It's the dementia aspect. You know, people will age with dementia and forgetfulness, etc., and Parkinson's disease, etc. So we need to probably focus on those areas as well, in addition to what the housing society are doing and what sort of regulations that we will have. So I think all in all, it should be a holistic approach. Thank you.
Yes, from the presentation, we can also see that a lot of the housing solutions are now also thinking about the IoT, which Louise also touched on, you know, the different solutions or IoT solutions that we could help the elders to age at home safely. And also the example of town guests as well, how to safeguard our elders at home if they're living alone. So my next question to Louise and Tony, it's about the success factors of Sweden and the US in terms of, you know, leading the way on how we consider age-friendly communities and design. Would you please give some sharing about your experience or your thinking about the success factors? Yes.
I would say that one success factor is to, in order for it not to be more expensive also, is to think ahead from the beginning and involve all different types of players. So when you're formulating the policy, well, talk to those that are concerned, talk to civil society, involve them, involve research facilities early on so that they can start thinking of, okay, so how can this be realized? And of course also the private business. So, you know, like a quadruple helix we're talking about. And yes, it does take time. You need a lot of consultation processes. But once you've gone through that, well, you have a very stable foundation. So I think that would be, yeah, one of our
yes, and I also
lessons.
I'm aware of your sharing when you talk about family, because in every stage of life, a person change, you know, whether if you are a married couple, a singleton, or where do you live when you get old. So I think that is also being, you know, shared in your presentation about the person. It's very important. Yes. So Tony, do you have anything to share?
So in the US, I think actually the sector is successful because the products actually are able to meet the demand needs of the consumer or their family members, right? So in terms of, you know, just 40% to 50% of senior living community actually owned by not-for-profit charity. Then another 40-60% is market-driven. So the private capital, and when they invest into this sector, they can make money. And then it's good for the residents, their families, and also good for the companies. So I think that's the most important, I think, in the US. That's why there's, you know, listed companies own assets. They are developer operators, and, you know, our residents are happy. But mainland China is still very challenging, right? So because a lot of, you know, state-owned companies are investing into a sector, they sometimes they don't care about the returns. I think the market is a bit difficult. But I think, unfortunately, we need the private sector, especially also in Hong Kong as well. When they enter senior living, especially in our space, they need to make reasonable returns. If our land is too costly and they cannot make any financial returns, you know, to satisfy themselves and investors, I don't think this industry will grow at all. So that's, you know, in the US is very mature, and there are different products as well, like a 55+ community, you know, retirement township, and then, you know, senior assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. They are all doing very well. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. I think it really goes back to the person or each of us. What do we want when we get old? Be it where do we want to live? Do we want to live in very well designed with adaptable design as we get older? Or we could also, it greatly depends on the mobility and also health conditions of each individual as they get older. So in summary, I think today's panel gave us a breadth of knowledge about housing when we talk about housing with all age, housing with family, housing with care, housing with community, and different cultures as well. So please give a round of applause to all of our panelists today, and I hope you all enjoyed this session. 多謝大家嘅參與，係啦，咁我哋呢一個嘅 panel 咧就去到呢一度。
再一次多謝我哋咁多位演講嘉賓同埋我哋主禮嘉賓啦，都嚟到台上咧同我哋分享佢哋嘅一啲知識同埋想法。而家都邀請咁多位咧可以踏前一步，我哋去影一個嘅合照，亦都邀請我哋黃金時代基金會嘅代表可以一齊咧留低去影一個嘅合照㗎。Please take a step forward and we will take a group photo again together. Please have a look of the photographer down there. 1, 2, 3.